I see a lot of videos that are just bizarre, made by theists who are entirely wackadoo. This might not rise to that level, but it's amazing how many Christians just have no clue what they're talking about, and they blame all of their ignorance on the devil. The devil made me do it. It's not my fault. Satan is to blame. Well, here we go with a supposedly vigilant Christian named Mario, who isn't really vigilant so much as he's clueless. He's talking to his Christian bros. Well, I guess that's better than talking to his Christian hoes, but come on. Immediately that makes me take him a lot less seriously.
Hey everyone, it's the Vigilant Christian Mario, and you're here for another edition of Satanic New World Order Exposed. In today's video, I wanted to give you all a warning that Illuminati corporations are going to be making a move to absolutely destroy the middle class. This is one of the agendas to destabilize the nation, is to take the wealth from the middle class and bring it to the elite so that we don't have any resources or money, etc., and can be easily controlled. So this is an agenda, and one of the ways that they're going to be doing this, and I wanted to warn you all, is they're going to be replacing workers with machines that can do the jobs that you or that worker currently do. So be on guard, be vigilant. There is an agenda. They do not care about you. Do not get it twisted. The people at the top of the pyramid, they are corrupt and have no care in them. They actually go and perform rituals called the cremation of care, where they cremate their care.
Wow. Just wow. I don't know where to start on any of this. He throws out so much conspiracy theorist nonsense here, it's hard to tell if he's even being serious. As I've said before, it really is difficult to tell where the Poe stops and the theist begins. There is no way on some of these extremists to tell if they're being serious or if they're just messing with you. He certainly isn't alone as a conspiracy theorist religious wingnut. In fact, most big-name American conspiracy theorists do tie their ideas to Christianity, showing that if you can fall for one load of woo, you can fall for anything. But let's look at his claims, that all of the big corporations in America are somehow being controlled by the Illuminati. Evidence? He has none, of course. So what does he mean by the Illuminati? Well, there was a short-lived group called the Bavarian Illuminati, formed in 1776, whose goals were to oppose superstition, religious control over the public, and abuses of state powers. Immediately, the Catholic Church opposed this group and used its influence over the state to force Charles Theodore, ruler of Bavaria, to ban the group. Of course, the faithful are never going to let a good boogeyman go, so they've been claiming for hundreds of years that the shadowy group is still lurking behind the scenes and has been the cause of many social ills. Unfortunately, the methods and means of this group are diametrically opposed to the original purpose of the Bavarian Illuminati, which was wholly rational, irreligious, and out for the public good. I'd say that based on those characteristics, they were pretty much true conservatives in their goals. But now they're mustache-twirling, Satan-worshipping, state-abusing evil incarnate, and they perform rituals to rid themselves of care. Seriously?
What I want to do here is just show you a quick Bible verse. In James chapter 5, verse 4, God is literally telling these corporate leaders, these Luciferian sellouts that run these type of companies, he says, look, the wages you failed to pay your workers who mowed your fields are crying out against you. The cries of the harvesters or the workers or the employees have reached the ears of the Lord Almighty. God hears the cries of the workers who are not paid an adequate wage because these satanic Luciferian companies do not care about us. But one day they will stand in front of God Almighty and stand in judgment for the mistreatment of the workers that they had. So recognize that God will bring justice to this massive injustice that we see in our world, in corporate America, with the structure and the fact that it's run by satanic, twisted people at the top of the pyramid who don't care and are trying to destroy the middle class by getting the poor even poorer, and, well, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. That's a word.
Here he again tries to say that these evil corporations are satanic, But what he's really trying to do is shift the blame over to Satan and his supposed minions because they cannot believe that God would ever allow bad things to happen. In fact, he says that God is watching and that these people will get their comeuppance someday. Well, why not now? Why won't God actually correct the problems right this second? Because God, in the worldview of these religious nutcases, is really quite impotent. God can't actually do anything worthwhile. He can just sit in judgment of people after they die, and for those who suffer while they're here, well, it doesn't really matter because they'll eventually end up in paradise. Of course, the real answer is there's no reason to think God exists at all, any more than we should think that Satan is real, but the religious cannot even acknowledge that this is a possibility. There are some things we ought to look at, like the fact that life isn't fair, that people are not starting from the same place, and that people do not have the same drive and the same skills to achieve the same results. This Mario guy comes off as a quite liberal Christian, liberal in the political sense, and is really just spouting liberal opportunity of outcome nonsense with a religious cream filling.
The love of money is the root of all kinds of evil, and the top corporations in the world have been successfully infiltrated by a Luciferian cult, and the people that are placed in positions of power in these companies do not care about you. No. They don't care that you need to keep a roof over your head, that you have to feed your children, that you have all these things. No.
I just wanted to stop here and look at his wall of stickers, supposedly an example of companies that are horrible and awful and run by the Illuminati. Seriously? The U.S. Air Force? That's not even a company. I guess maybe you could make the case that the Dallas Cowboys might be, but what about the rest of professional sports? Or maybe he just hates the Cowboys. And there's a logo in there for the Nintendo GameCube, a video game system that is several generations old. I guess it isn't Nintendo that's the problem. It isn't the Wii or the Wii U that are evil, just the GameCube. I'm guessing he just found this picture and is using it as an example, but it makes me think he really has no clue which corporations are evil and Illuminati controlled and which ones are not.
As the Bible says, they are holding back wages from you. It's not right. God knows it. They know it, but they do it anyway because they are corrupted and they are satanic. They will replace you with a machine. It's coming. McDonald's workers are protesting their wages and the fact that, it's really not fair. But, McDonald's isn't going to come through for them. They're just going to create technology to replace them because these machines do not complain. So very soon when you go to your fast food joints, this is what you're going to run into. There will be no more workers behind the desk. There will just be machines. You will just place your order. No more service with a smile. Just service with a machine, which is ridiculous.
Clearly, Mario has no clue how basic economics works, which comes as no surprise. Employers are not holding back wages that they owe you. They are paying you what both you and they agree you should be paid. You agree to this by showing up every day and working for them. It's a business agreement. If you don't like the wages you're being paid, you are welcome to go find another employer who's willing to pay you more. It's that simple. Whether you want to keep a roof over your head or not is irrelevant. You're trading your labor for an agreed upon amount of money. If you don't like that, as I said, find someone who will pay you more or learn more skills to make yourself more valuable to your employer. That's the very basis of capitalism. Yes, I know we're talking about leftists and they're typically Marxists or socialists, but come on. And yes, when the cost of the workers becomes more than the cost of technology, the workers will be replaced. Whether you like it or not, the whole purpose of being in business is to make money. When something becomes too expensive and a cheaper option is available, the cheaper option will be taken. That's how it works. Of course, the left seems to think that employers are a life support mechanism for low-skill workers. It is not. Let me explain something to our younger viewers. It wasn't that long ago, perhaps 25 to 30 years, when most low-end positions at McDonald's and other fast food restaurants were filled either by high school-aged kids or the retired. The purpose of a minimum wage job is to train people in basic workplace ethics. It is not intended to be a living wage. It has never been intended to be a living wage. It's a wage for people who are just getting started and are expected to learn their basic lessons and move up. They are also expected to be getting an education while they are working so that once they graduate, They will not only have the educational abilities, but work skills that will apply in industries across the field. There have been a lot of failures in the system, though. Most companies will no longer hire people under 18 because of the requirements and limitations of minor workers. There are a lot of people who are willing to take these jobs because they failed to get an education and they failed to learn the lessons that they should have learned early on in life. There are tons of people who live irresponsibly, who now need more money to support a family, but who haven't actually earned more money. And yes, you're going to see these low-skill, irresponsible workers getting the boot because that's what they've earned through their lifestyle, and it'll be nobody's fault but their own. And that's something liberals refuse to admit.
This is already occurring. This isn't something I'm warning you about, like it's going to happen in 5, 10, 20 years. Last time I took a train, I went on the train station, and who is it that I bought a ticket from? Was it a nice lady or a guy standing behind the desk with a smile, being paid a wage that he can then, or she can then, use to feed her children, put a roof over her head, etc.? No! I went and ordered my ticket from a machine. This wasn't the case 5 years ago. This has just changed recently. And I just took a trip to California. And when you're checking in at the plane station, this is exactly what you run into. These quick ticket machines are doing all the jobs that human beings used to do. So as the technology keeps developing and machines are more capable of doing more things, more jobs will be replaced.
Of course it wasn't the case 5 years ago. The technology has only become available in the last couple of years. There are lots of things that you couldn't do 5 years ago that you can do today. Technology marches on. I don't see you complaining about ATMs though, do I? You don't have to go into a bank and stand in a line and talk to a teller. You just walk up to a machine and get your money. Lots of people like the automated machines because you don't have to stand in the lines. You don't have to deal with cashiers who are tasked by their employers to try to sell you things that you don't want. Machines are not doing all the jobs that humans used to do. They're doing the menial, mindless, skillless jobs that humans used to do. And this is an improvement for the consumer.
This is a form of modern slavery. They do not care about us. They really do not. And even if, okay, let's just say theoretically we are not replaced by machines in the working world, there is just the fact of we will be completely destroyed either way just by inflation. Did you know that in the last, let's say 25 to 30 years, the average of stuff that you purchase like milk and food and gas has gone up an average of 400 to 600%, and the average pay wage has only gone up 60 to 100%? So how in the world are we even able to make ends meet? That is why people need to work harder these days to buy less. You know, so you're working harder and you're getting less. And this is going to be, we're running on the hamster wheel here, and it's only going to keep going. So even if we don't get replaced by machines themselves and the workforce is completely eradicated, the middle class will be destroyed just by the simple fact of inflation alone.
Someone who doesn't have a clue what slavery is. They don't have to care about you. They care about the business, which is what business is in business to do. You're the one who has to care about yourself. You're the one who is responsible for yourself. You're the one who has to be skilled enough and educated enough and valuable enough to make the wage that you want to make. If you don't, it's not their failure. It's yours. I really can't say what it's like for you, but I'm not working any harder today than I was 30 years ago. I still put in the same number of hours. I just make significantly more because I haven't remained at the same job level for more than a few years at a time. I learn. I grow. I advance. What the hell's wrong with you? In fact, I met someone yesterday that I used to work with a long, long time ago. When I started with that company, I was under her. When I left, I was over her. Today, I'm several more steps up the ladder, and she's in exactly the same job that she's been in for more than a decade. That's a problem. And it's not the Illuminati that's keeping you down. It's you.
So I just wanted to make this video here to wake people up. You live in a fallen world. This world, if you have hope in the things of this world, you need to read the scriptures. You need to understand what kind of world that you live in. There's a reason that these corporations do not care. There's a reason these people at the top will one day stand in judgment with God, who recognizes everything that they're doing. So yeah, just a warning and heads up. Repent if you don't know Jesus. He's the one that's going to save us from this crazy system, this kingdom of Satan that's being built in the world. He will replace it with his eternal kingdom. Thanks for taking the time. This is the Vigilant Christian saying God bless each and every one of you. As always, stay vigilant and fear no evil.
So, wait a minute. He starts off with tinfoil hat religious conspiracy theorist nonsense, and then he goes into Occupy whatever liberal socialist crap, and now he's back to religious garbage. Make up your mind. Is this some satanic conspiracy to ruin the world, or is it just a failure to recognize responsibility? It's all a jumble, and it's all laughably wrong. Is he suggesting that repenting is going to get you a better job? Jesus is going to save you from unemployment? This guy isn't a vigilant Christian. He's another uneducated Christian, but we all know that there's no surprise there. He might not want to fear evil, but he sure does fear being responsible for himself. So, yeah, that went somewhere I didn't expect, but I suppose I shouldn't be surprised. Lots of Christians see evil lurking behind every tree. They act like Satan is a constant agent in the world, making bad things happen because reasons. God and Satan are locked in a constant struggle, but amazingly, it's only Satan who can actually do anything. God just sits on his thumb and figures he'll do something after everyone is dead. What a dick. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed the video. Comment, like, and subscribe, and share the video far and wide. Thanks for spending a couple minutes with me, and I'll see you soon.